basic school curriculum being introduced next month. The two institutions working on the reforms are split on this.
Basic education certificate examination, which is now to end at senior secondary school, becomes useless. So the nomenclature called BEC will certainly be scrapped completely.
National Council for Curriculum and Assessment says yes, but the GES says no.
We are even yet to develop the curriculum for JHS and then SHS. So we are not scrapping BEC.
Well, we'll attempt to settle the confusion here on Newsnight. Plus, the snacks provided teachers during their training program. You've seen the social media pictures. We'll have a response from the GES to that. Tonight, Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWA, has asked President Akufo-Addo to attach some seriousness to his promise to provide clean water for all citizens.
A certain program was intended to be used to roll it out.
Okay, but there were
delays
with the
now that the full funding has been made available, I expect, and I urge the people who are responsible to move quickly and provide the water for these people.
Well, that's coming up in Johnny's citizen-driven series, looking at government promises and tracking them. We've headlined it, Dear Nanado.
And in business, we'll be getting you more on the PDS ECG issues.
Later in sports, Ghana Swimming Federation laments a lack of support from government as they prepare for the 2019 Africa Games.
And then later, President Akufo-Addo issues a directive to Lands Commission to stop encroachment of airport lands as he cuts short for work to start on the second phase of the Tamale Airport.
It must be stopped. The operators and regulators of our airport, as well as the Lands Commission, need to sit up and ensure the lands belonging to our airports are managed properly.
And the Joy FM mid-morning show, Cosmopolitan Mix, introduces 30-day weight loss challenge to help listeners to rekindle their fitness routines. Newsnight is brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience. And don't forget, you can join me with your views and comments. 0244-340437. It's the WhatsApp line. As a new curriculum is rolled out by government next month, there is growing confusion over whether BECE, the Basic Education Certificate Examination, will be scrapped. The BECE is the main or final WAEC-administered examination taken by junior high school students before the end of their 3-year study, and is the main qualification exam for entry into senior high schools. There are two authorities to go to on this. That's the Ghana Education Service and then the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA. Now, the NACA says BEC will soon be scrapped from the country's educational system. Executive Secretary Dr. Prince Ama, who spoke on Star FM this morning, said the BEC has outlived its relevance.
I have been one of the strongest advocates for scrapping BEC for many years in this country. And I'm happy I have an opportunity to make input in that decision as well. Of course, I mean, BEC has outlived its usefulness, and the evidence is very clear. The various reports are there, Anambra Minister report has said, WAEC reports, there's several other evidence suggesting that it's outlived its usefulness. But in the current context and regime, let me make this point. When you say that you have redefined basic education to include secondary school, what it means is that the end point for basic education will be at senior secondary school. What will be the essence of a basic education at year 3, which is not the terminal point? So basic education certificate examination, which is now to end at senior secondary school, becomes useless. So BEC, the nomenclature called BEC, will certainly be scrapped completely. Of course, that is clear. Point 1. Point 2. There will certainly be what we call an examination that will be used for placement. But the examination called BEC, in the manner and form we have now, will certainly be scrapped. The current BEC is not a standard-based curriculum. It's not based on standards. If a child finishes BEC, you cannot tell what specific competencies that child should be able to demonstrate. There's no set benchmark. It is not based on criteria. So BEC is not a criterion reference system. So definitely what we are going to have will be a criterion reference assessment system where the scores are generated based on standard. The current system is not based on standard. The second one is that you cannot call an examination at the mid-year of secondary school as basic education when basic education has been extended to senior high school.
And so that's the position as expressed there by Dr. Prince Amma, who is Executive Secretary of the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. So what is the GES position on this? We've just been joined on the telephone line by the Director General, Professor Opoku Amankwa. Prof, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Evans, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for
joining. You told me that we were going to come.
The thing is, I had no idea you're going to be on my show, but I'm grateful that you could join us tonight. Yes. Let me ask you. We just listened to Dr. Amma, who is very emphatic that, and I quote him, "It is clear that the BEC will be scrapped." True?
Yes. If you listen to what he said, and from your introduction, where you said that will soon be scrapped. If you use the word "soon be scrapped," fair enough. But today in my press conference, I was asked that question. I said, no, BEC is not going to be scrapped because we have not started the implementation of the curriculum, even for the free the junior high schools and the secondary schools, the senior high schools. When we start implementing that, then we will then look at the new assessment framework for that. And that basically will mean that if you go to the National Pre-Tertiary Education Curriculum Framework on page 52, the last paragraph says there will be an external examination in all examination subjects at the end of Basic 9. The purpose of the examination is to assess how far each learner can demonstrate their achievement in reaching the competencies as preparation for everyday life and for further studies or training, and to what extent the system is enabling learners to achieve optimally. Now, what it simply means is that once we operationalize the new curriculum up to the point of SHS, JHS and SHS, obviously there should be a system of assessment that conforms with the new way of the new standard-based curriculum. Standard-based curriculum also has a standard-based assessment, and the system, as the NACA boss explained, is quite different from the objective-based curriculum that we are implementing now. So what I said, if you want to tie the two, what it simply means is that at least we know that the thing is for the curriculum that we are implementing now is up to primary 6. We are hoping that by the time the group in primary 6 goes to JHS 1, would have developed a new curriculum. And what it will mean is that those in primary 6 now, when they get to primary, they get to JHS 3, that is Basic 9, that is where a new form of assessment will be used. But come next year and the year after next year, and I think the next 3 years, BEC will still be BEC because they are still using the old curriculum.
I think for clarity, what you're saying is there's only one certainty, that in the long run, eventually, BEC will definitely be scrapped. The thing is about the timing.
As he explained, the standard-based curriculum is different from the objective-based curriculum. And in those, depending on which one you are implementing, it comes out with its own form of assessment.
And I guess the other point you need to clarify for me is the timeline. So what you describe, it appears that at least in the next 3 years, when year 1, the Form 1s eventually get to year 3, when they have to sit an exit exam, they will not be sitting BEC.
The first group who will be doing something different will be those who are in primary 6 now, those who are going to primary 6 now, who are going to be part of the new standard-based curriculum. So if anything, that will be when they get to year 9.
Okay.
And that will be about 3-4 years from now.
Good. So for those who want clarity on this so they can plan with their children and parents as well, myself included, you can expect that in the next 3 years, maximum 4 years, your children will not be sitting BECE.
Yes, but they will be sitting an exam.
They'll be sitting an exam, but not BECE, something else.
BECE.
Yes. Okay. And the reason I've heard is that the BEC is not a criteria reference assessment system, and you want something that is that. And what does that mean in terms of substance for a parent, for example? Does that mean that whatever exam they'll be sitting is better and will improve the children's, chances of turning out better than they usually do nowadays?
Now, as I indicated much earlier, and the NACA boss also indicated, we have two different kinds of curriculum. We currently, for those in JHS now and the SHS, we are implementing what we call the objective-based curriculum. And then now we've introduced standard-based curriculum. The standard-based curriculum, what it simply does is that at every level that a child reaches, for example, if a child finishes class 1, we assess some competencies, should be able to display some competencies and should have some attitudes and things like that. So if we are going to assess competencies, as against this one that you are only assessing more largely knowledge, the way that you do the assessments will change. And we feel that this one is better because all of us have been complaining about people who finish school who cannot do certain basic things. So the idea is that at least by the time you finish a certain level, there are some competencies that you should be able to do. So that if we say that you finish class 4, we know that there's this competency A, competency B. And usually the example that I give is that people who go into apprenticeship of different kinds, you go into seamstressing. You could get 3 or 4 people enrolling at the same time to become seamstresses. After a year or 2 or 3, let's say maximum 3 years, some of them will pass out. And then you go there and then there are still others. They'll say, why has this person not passed out? Then they'll say, oh, he doesn't even know how to maybe cut some pattern or something like that. Or she still needs to do ABC before she can pass out. So what we're saying is that at every level, you have to have certain competencies, certain attitudes, certain things that you should be able to do. And if you are not able to do those things, we will examine you. There will still be an assessment. And then ours will be to ensure that you attain that competency.
Okay.
In fact, the professions do that.
Yeah.
So if you look at the professions, they don't come out as first class or second class, but they all come out as pass. But you can't say that all of them, when they did the assessment, they all had the same mark. They all at least went beyond that standard mark that they are supposed to go.
Okay. And so this curriculum next month will be rolled out. How prepared are we?
Very much prepared. Very much prepared. In fact, the entire program started about 2 years ago. We started from July 2017 when the minister officially inaugurated a group to look at the curriculum framework. And since then, we've worked. Since 2 months ago, we've done a series of training for a category of groups, including simulators. We've done also for master trainers, and then we've done for regional and district trainers. For the simulators, we did 56 people went through the simulation, and then they trained the master trainers, and then the master trainers, 186. They also trained 3,900 regional and district trainers across the country. And as we speak now, we've started a series of training for 152,000 teachers from KG1 to primary 6.
Okay.
Yes.
So
we've also provided them with resources that they can use to teach. Each teacher is going to get a pack of resources, which includes their syllabuses and also a teacher resource pack.
Okay, I'm grateful that you joined us to break this down. Director General Professor Opoku Amankwa there. Let's bring in now the Ghana National Association of Teachers, President of NAT, Philippa Lassen, is on the line with us. Hello, Philippa. Hello, Philippa. I think we lost him. We lost her there. But I'm sure you've been following the controversy surrounding the training that is currently happening for teachers across the country. If you're monitoring social media, you must have seen pictures of snacks given to teachers during the training for the new curriculum. The Director General, who addressed a press conference today, spoke to this. I mean, if you haven't seen the picture, it's simply a picture of a miserly cut loaf of bread and a bottle of what looked like Milo mixed, for the teachers. That's also, cocoa in a rubber. And many people have said that is demeaning to teachers. Well, the GS director response to this at a press conference.
To start with, the entire 26 million did not go into food. I know. The entire 26 million did not go into food. It went into a number of things. Now, the arrangement that we made was that we met with our regional directors, and then for each region, there are districts. And then we indicated that in the previous training that we did, that was the one that we did for the 3,900, we arranged with various schools, SHS school matrons, and those matrons provided the food for us. And they did excellent work. We know that just about 5 or so districts in Ghana that we may not have a secondary school in there, but virtually every district has a secondary school. So the arrangement was for our district directors to meet, engage the matrons to support them to do that. If you were going to go on the market, the commercial way, to feed 152,000 people, then I believe even the 26 million may not be enough for that. But the 26 million includes their TNT, allowances, and all such things. Now, again, they were supposed to have one snack and then a meal.
That's a Director General of the GS explaining how come the snacks that have been criticized by both teachers and those on social media have raised. If you have comments on that, share with me 0244-340437. Particularly, if you are a teacher, I wanted to share with me your thoughts on your preparation towards the execution rollout of the new curriculum. I want to hear from you. 0244-340437. Now, President Akufo-Addo is worried continuous encroachment of airport lands across the country is threatening future expansion of facilities. He wants the Lands Commission and agencies responsible for the protection of public lands to act and stop the practice, cutting short for work to start on the phase 2 of the Tamale Airport construction. President Akufo-Addo said the practice is unacceptable and must be addressed.
Let me touch on an important matter, and that is the widespread encroachment on airport lands. This phenomenon threatens the future expansion of airports in the country. It must be stopped. The operators and regulators of our airports, as well as the Lands Commission, need to sit up and ensure the lands belonging to our airports are managed properly and duly protected, not only for future projects of expansion, but also for safeguarding lives and property.
Well, the $70 million project funded by the United Kingdom Export Bank, when completed in 13 months, will serve as complement to the Kotoka International Airport, with funding available and compensation paid to landowners. President Akufo-Addo wants contractors working on the project to deliver on time.
Significantly, it is also expected that the completion of this project will make Tamale the center of Hajj-related activities in the country and will facilitate seamless travels from Ghana directly to Saudi Arabia for the pilgrimage to Mecca. It will encompass the following elements: design for the scope of works, construction of a modular airport terminal building of approximately 5,000 square meters, which is expandable in the future, construction of a Hajj facility of approximately 1,000 square meters, construction of a single carriageway access road, construction of landside and airside infrastructure adapted to the terminal size, and construction of water, power, and sewerage infrastructure deemed necessary for normal operations. Advanced mobilization has been processed for payment to the contractors. 30 months is 30 months, and the contractors must deliver the project on time to avoid any cost overruns. Compensation is being paid to all persons and groups affected by this project, and so we anticipate a very smooth project cycle.
Well, the aviation minister, Kofi Addo, has been speaking about this as well, and he's been talking about why government deserves praise because the initial funding arrangement failed to come, and they had now cracked that code.
On the terminal-specific project, let me say that the $70 million that is being invested here is money that was secured through a package by your government after the first phase lapsed. No other project was undertaken, no money was available. Indeed, the financiers, Santander Bank of UK, wrote to say that they were not going to be able to do it again. So this is an entirely 100% initiative funded by your government since you came into power.
Well, the president is touring the northern region and is expected to commission some ongoing projects. My colleague Martina Bugri is traveling with the president, and she joins us on the telephone line right now. Martina, the president was in Saboba, I understand, and the key issues came up about the nature of the roads. What more did he say about that?
He says that his government is working hard to ensure that roads in the area are fixed. But one other thing he expressed worry was the smuggling of fertilizer in the area. Currently, we know the area is under a ban for the sale of the planting for food and drug fertilizer because of smuggling. And so he was very bitter about that. One other issue he also talked of was the curfew in the area. He says that RECSEC will be meeting on Monday and they would be expected to review the curfew. And so these are some of the issues the president has been saying to the people of Saboba.
The Minister for Roads and Highways has told you about the work that is being done in the roads in your district, including the bridges that are going to be built in this district. The Minister of Education has also responded about the challenge over this College of Education. As far as the government district hospital is concerned, the Ministry of Health is working out a comprehensive program for the construction of district hospitals in areas that don't have it. He hasn't secured the funding. When he secures the funding, he'll come here and speak to you about the district hospital for your area. The Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, is he aware of this demand you have made for the establishment of a traditional council? Because if he is, he's been working and organizing traditional councils for many, many areas. If he's not, I will inform him about the demand that you made in my presence, so he will know about it. Well, as far as the school bus is concerned, that one, Mr. President is going to see to it personally so that the schools can have a bus. There are two or three things that I want to refer to. One is the water shortage that has been a major problem in the whole of this district. At long last, that problem is going to be resolved.
And that is President Akufo-Addo there traveling in the northern region. Still ahead here on News Night, the 1.5 million jobs created by government's Planting for Food and Jobs program, according to Minister of Employment and Labour Relations. More, as he also says, a free senior high school program has contributed to a decline in Ghana's unemployment figures. We have all the details for you right after the break. I want to share with you a few of our messages just before that break. Amankwa says, in fact, Evans, I have listened to the Director General Kinley, and I agree with him that we have received the teacher resource pack for the training in my district, that's at Pru West, but the teaching syllabus have not been given because they are inadequate. If they are to share them among us teachers, we will not all get a copy each for the various subjects. That's Matthew in Prang, Bono East region. Thank you, Matthew, for sharing the thoughts, and obviously he's a teacher. Another one here says, this is Bismarck Dakwa, says, as I've tried, I have no problem with government changing the curriculum, rather whether government will be committed to it. And a final one on the conversation or top story about the PDS matter. This one has no name. No, Kwame Abuaji says, from Cape Coast, he says, Honorable Ablakwa was contradicting himself. At one breath, he said MIDA is a government agency, so they don't trust them. And on another breath, they are happy that the U.S. government has taxed MIDA to independently probe the PDS matter. What are your own views on the story? Share with me after the break.
Financial services, providing knowledge and support and solutions, customer-oriented, superior services, your success our portion. Trusted, innovative financial services, providing knowledge and support and solutions, customer-oriented, superior services, your success our portion. 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our Ghanaian brand. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty, your success our passion. Oh yeah, your success our passion.
Your success, our passion.
Get 100% bonus when you top up airtime with Vodafone Cash. Dial *110# to top up now. If you know, you know. The future is exciting. Ready?
Thank you, folks. On my A list today, show some love for Contractor EB. So, Contractor, what do you think about the country's changing skyline?
Oh, send them down there, Shurima. Across skyline, they change you.
Wow. Contractor, don't you get worried when you hear of buildings collapsing?
I'm not for an one on Tassam. It is the likability of using low quality product.
Please explain why.
Yeah, cement is no quality on your gasem. Village of Fefu. It was built with gasem. Says the gasem is your construction. Osi ho pumping. She N1, Kejete Market, Kotokano Kumasi Airport, Cape Coast Stadium, Atrabu Gas Project in Gasebo. Messi, what a quality. You know what is quality?
Gasem, 3 cement grades, greater value. Gasem, the nation builder.
Let's do business now. And George Yafe is here with the latest. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, U.S. government to base decision on the ECG concessionaire deal on the outcome of the independent investigators report. And Employment Minister Ignatius Bafwewa assures safety of pension funds despite the recent challenges in the banking sector. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? Well, let's now settle for the details. And the U.S. government has indicated that they will base its decision on the ECG concessionaire deal on the outcome of the independent investigators report. Now, this indication was captured in an email sent to Joy Business on the current issues around ECG. The following Business Desk report has more on the Millennium Challenge Corporation response on the current PDS ECG issue.
The U.S. government, in the email responding to a set of questions sent by Joy Business on the ECG PDS issue, also advised the other stakeholders to support this investigation and wait for its outcome before they act. Based on the email, The Board of Directors of the Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, are set to hire an independent investigator to conduct a forensic audit of the claimed material breaches to fully establish the facts on the matter. The U.S., which is supporting the country's energy sector through the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, argued that it wanted to base its decision on fully established facts. The U.S. government argued that it's interested in a transparent, well-run transaction that meets international standards. Analysts have argued that this is an indication that if the outcome of this investigation falls below this standard, the government could take a decision that might not favor Ghana. It is also asking all the partners, that's MIDA, PDS and Government of Ghana, to work together in implementing bold solutions for the energy sector in partnership with the MCC Compact. On the way forward for the power sector, the Millennium Challenge Corporation argued that private sector participation is essential to restoring the financial health of Ghana's energy sector, giving an indication that it would not back down on its proposal to have full private participation in the power sector. It also reminded Ghanaians in the mail that concession does not shift the ownership of the ECG distribution to PDS or any other entity, insisting that it's still the property of the government of Ghana and that under the deal, Ghanaian investors will hold a minimum of 51% of ownership interest in PDS.
And that was a Business Desk report. In a related development, the Millennium Challenge Corporation in the U.S. is engaging some government officials in that country. We understand that it was one of these meetings that was collectively agreed that the parties should be guided by this evidence-based findings, possibly from this independent investigator. Sources said the meetings involved some officials of the Energy Ministry, including some ministers, the Energy Commission and the boss of MIDA Ghana. It is clear that the parties are reaching a common ground on dealing with these issues. Now, in a related development, government sources also argue that all the interested parties would go ahead with their investigations. Now, at the end of that period, they will decide on the way forward. Now, all these things, you understand, should be done or completed within 30 days. Now, Ghanaians should be rest assured that their pension funds are safe and have not been affected despite the current challenges in the banking sector. Minister for Employment Ignatius Bafwewa gave this assurance after announcing the successful transfer of an amount of 3.1 billion Ghana cedis of the Tier 2 contributions towards to be held actually in a separate account at the Bank of Ghana.
Let me take this opportunity to also announce to all that when the banking shake-up took place, I overheard so many people saying that pension funds are endangered. I want to use this opportunity to announce to all that no pension fund in the country has been affected by any of this banking restructuring that has taken place. All pension funds in the country are safe and they are being managed very well.
And that's Ignatius Bafwewa. He is the employment minister. He was speaking at the Meet the Press event in Accra today. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is rejecting concerns that the country's new trade position could open it up to some terrorist attacks and influx of foreigners. The assurance follows concerns that hosting the headquarters of the free trade area could actually be forced, or actually the country be forced to open its borders by the African Development Bank. That could hurt its economy badly. There are fears that the open border policy that is being pushed by the African Development Bank could actually affect us badly and hurt the economy. But the finance minister is rejecting these arguments. Let's hear his thoughts.
It's not an issue of becoming a member of the AFCTA that stops terrorism from coming into your borders. Our borders are already porous. We've never been able to, as Africans, to protect them anyway. So I think there's this common enterprise or arrangement should hopefully enable us to be able to protect the continent actually a lot better. I'm very much pro opening up our borders as long as we can manage the security aspect of it. So that's key for me. And therefore, for me, the issue of digitalizing so that we know where everybody is at any point in time, appropriate cameras, around the country so that citizens feel protected. And I think it will inure to our benefit.
And that's Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The country's returns on investment since commercial oil production began in 2011 has reached $977 million. Now, this is what Joy Business has picked up after going through the Petroleum Funds Management Report. Now, based on this data, the Ghana Heritage Fund, Just money set aside for future generation secured $521 million, while the stabilization fund, which is supposed to be used to cushion consumers when petroleum prices increase substantially, actually has about $455 million. Now, the caveat here is that this is the total amount that we've earned after some deductions were made from the account over the years, and that is $977 million. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you. That's all.
Promo way there, I had there. Sabi gusu yusu mi mumu no. If you say MTN Exima Chedia no, Edia to table. Brand new Samsung 65-inch UHD Smart TV. Na brand new 2019 Hyundai. And a 3,000 Ghana there. You should say mono. MTN Momo. Still Misaka. The journey of 1,000 smiles. Yashasya 10 years ago. And to celebrate this milestone, MTN give you away exciting prizes in the MTN Momo Attend promo. Yeah, you use Momo no. You could win one of the 2019 Hyundai i10 cars. Yes, some Samsung Smart TVs for baby. And they up to 3,000 CDs e-cash every month. And a grand prize, 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe in the MTN Momo Attend promo. Into signing on and they keep using your MTN Momo. Now when you big, if it's August only on Ghana's best network. Dial *120#. Now check your points. Terms and conditions apply. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302-764-209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Honey, I need to get some.
But I don't have cash on me. Let me get some fuel quickly and let's go.
And how are you going to get the fuel? I thought you said you didn't have cash on you. What is this one?
My Puma card.
All it takes is a card. The Puma card allows you to buy fuel cash-free from all Puma energy filling stations. You can use your Puma card with any Visa point of sale and ATM across the country. The Puma card also works on mobile money. You get amazing discounts when you fill up with your Puma card. So register for free and get your Puma card instantly at any Puma filling station.
And you only got one for yourself, eh?
Yeah, would I have had my peace of mind?
Oh, thank you, honey.
And where are you going?
I'm getting something from the shop real quick. I need to test the card.
Puma card. Cash-free convenience.
You're still live on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWAS, is asking President Akufo-Addo to fulfill his promise of extending potable water to all communities across the country in his first 2 years in office. The call comes on the heels of government's promise to ensure no community in the country has a water problem, which has been a major highlight of the Joy News Citizens-driven series, dubbed Dear Nanado. The first episode shined a light on the plight of the people of the Central Tongue community of Mafe, Tobewope, and surrounding villages who battle with leeches and algae in their drinking water on a daily basis. Now, many of the residents are said to be falling sick after drinking the brownish cocktail. Now, let's take a listen to excerpts of that particular feature put together by my colleague, Jojo Kobada.
In the first 2 years of an MPP administration, under this Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication program, where every constituency will get $1 million every for rural and deprived communities. Under this program, there should be no village or community in Ghana after the first 2 years that would have a water problem or a toilet problem. There should be no village or community. Once we implement this, the first 2 years, we will make sure you will not have a water problem or a toilet problem.
A promise from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia when the New Patriotic Party launched its manifesto in 2016 at the La Trade Fair Center in Accra. It has been over 2 years since this assuring statement was made, and it still rings in the minds of the people.
Times are wasting and record. Times are wasting and record.
Mafi Tove Vukpo is a farming community of 600 people in the Central Tong constituency of the Volta region. Residents do not enjoy basic access to potable water. Running water would be a luxury they can only afford to dream, and hope becomes a reality. Women and girls journey to the main source of water in a community, a pond. The pond is nestled in between trees. It is deep brown and dirty, with remnants of fallen leaves and other black substances floating on the surface. Feet wade in water. In a matter of seconds, receptacles are filled up. A herd of cattle make their way to drink the same source of water. The water settles in a white packet, and finally, its true color emerges. The water is used for washing, cooking, and drinking. Perfect Amade, a senior high school student, plans of abandoning her village in the future, mainly because of the poor quality of water. After getting used to potable water from secondary school, using the brownish liquid is difficult.
We are not having potable water, so that's what I don't like about the village. The water is not good for our health, and when we are using it, because of that, when we come back from school, we can't wear white clothes.
She won't be the first person to abandon the community. Many others have fled to urban areas for supposed better life.
This village consists of a population of about 1,500. But as I'm speaking now, we can only get about 500 to 600 people living in the community because of the nature of this thing. Most youth have fled the town to other places for greener pastures.
Perfect is conscious about the promise to ensure every community and village gets water 2 years of the NPP administration.
Our Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, please, you have seen the water we are taking here. As a normal human being, this water is not good for our health. So you need to do something about it for us.
I think they can give this water to even their dogs to drink because of the nature of the water. If they come, we feed them water, they don't drink it. They tell us it's okay. They will leave. Upon several efforts to have this pipe brought to this village, all these attempts proved futile.
President Akufo-Addo, please, we need water. We are suffering because of the terrible nature of the water we drink. We also don't have a school. Our children suffer diarrhea because of the poor nature of the water. We beg you, President Akufo-Addo, please do your best and give us potable water.
they are not the only community with a terrible water situation. In fact, the Assemblyman for Mafi Avedo electoral area has identified about 14 communities lacking potable water. The second out of the 14 communities is Mafi Tove Chikope. Greenish, slimy algae bloom on the surface of the water. The impact of algae on drinking water is complex, as some form of algae have the ability to affect water quality for humans and animal consumption, producing toxins that can have unpleasant and even serious health effects. After laboring to fetch and carry water over long distances, residents find a leach in the water. Sadness is etched in their faces. They have had to endure leeches for so many years. The rainy season will help them harvest some water, but when the dry season emerges, they'll go back to their default drinking water or walk some kilometers for this basic commodity.
As we are suffering from this particular water, like James and others, we went there and bought water from Toveglim. That's a new pipe water. Sometimes we use the dirty one to wash our things because expenses for buying waters are very high.
There are leeches in the water. They attach themselves to you without you knowing. If you become alarmed and you hit one, it will suck your blood. And in fact, it will be a bloody situation. You have to calmly apply lemon or lime juice and then it will fall off your skin. We beg the president he should come and help us.
During their campaigning, they promised the whole Ghana that each community will get access to a good drinking water. But in their office of 2 years now, in our area, we haven't experienced anything in that form. If really their campaigning messages are working, then they should come to our aid for us to get a potable water.
The water makes them sick. The in charge of Avedo Chips compound, Gladys Womeno, says apart from malaria and respiratory tract infections, diarrhea is the third most common disease recorded in her facility.
They pass blood too. Some mucus mixed with blood. There's some water too with blood. But
what does that mean?
That means they have infection, like bacterial infection. When they come with mucus too, we give them metronidazole, ORS. So when they come with the diarrhea, we give them zinc tab and the ORS. Now we advise them on personal hygiene.
How can this be solved?
If we have potable water, that one can stop diarrhea.
The district chief executive of Central Tong, Thomas Moore, says government will soon provide them potable water.
They will be getting potable water very soon. Those areas, we did our survey and realized underground water will not be good. Central Tong is not like other districts or regions where you can drill a borehole and heat water. We have surface water, but don't have good underground water. It could either be salty or some mineral content. So we have at the back of these assemblies, there's a big treatment plant there that was financed by an Austria facility. And then it was a 10-key project. So we extended water to Avedo, which is one of the biggest communities on that line. So within that enclave, there are about 15 communities that will be connecting water to. I can tell you for sure we have 3 now, because my visit to these 3 communities, I saw them using boreholes, and the rest are under construction.
So 7 under construction?
Yeah, 3 are in use. So by next year, these communities you are mentioning now, I don't know if your grandmother is from any of them, but they will also start getting potable water.
Yes, sir. Debbie, 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 Nasu Debbie, Baba Dabe. Debbie, Nasu Debbie, Baba Dabe.
The people are eagerly waiting for the day government will fulfill promises to give them potable water.
We heard that he will give every constituency $1 million for development works to be carried out in the constituencies. Up till now, we've not been hearing anything about that $1 million.
And that Joy News feature was put together by Jojo Coburn as part of our Diana Nado series. On the line with me right now is a technical advisor at Koniwa, Patrick Poya, joins us on the telephone line right now. Patrick, thank you for your time here on Newsnight. This is a case of one community, and I know your NGO works in different communities, working to bring water and sanitation to these communities. How bad is the situation across the country?
Yeah, I will say it's very pathetic in the first place to see this community go through this. But it is not shocking to know that, or it will be shocking to some people to know that for the last 20% of rural communities who still don't have water, this is a typical representation of what they go through. And I wouldn't call this an isolated case.
So you're saying that the current statistics show that 30% of Ghanaians have this particular problem to deal with?
No, in the rural subsector, we still have 20% of the population which is not yet served with potable water.
20%?
Yes. And that 20%, majority of them will be in this situation.
In this particular situation. I mean, this particular, episode highlights the political promises that have been made, that was made before the 2016 elections. 2 years will make sure every community does not have this particular problem. It has to be pointed out. This is not the first time a politician has made a promise such as this and hasn't been fulfilled. What do you think is the disconnect?
For me, I think it's a very serious disconnect. You can't say politicians are promising things they cannot fulfill. They can fulfill. But sometimes they don't mean to fulfill them maybe when they promise. I can take a free education, for instance, which people think is very difficult to fulfill, but they have fulfilled. When it comes to water, either because the 20% who are affected are not people who have voices that can raise to disturb government or go to the street, so they don't care about them, or people just don't think that it is not good to use somebody's life to make a political promise and just neglect it. If there was any effort to fulfill that promise, I believe they could have fulfilled it. But there is just no effort at all to fulfill it.
So what must change if we are to bridge this gap?
I think politicians must be held very accountable to every promise that they make. I think we have always had a situation where you go to make a promise and nobody questions you afterwards. We don't even remember the promises that we make. A lot of people were surprised to even hear this particular promise, that a politician has said that after 2 years of our administration, every single community will have access to water. Ghanaians have forgotten, and we need actions like this to continually remind and to bring back to the politicians what they have said. And it will also give the power to the people to be able to demand whatever you promise them. That is the basis upon which we voted into power. So it becomes an obligation on you to fulfill the promise. I think what you have done is the right step, and I believe civil society in general should follow on that line.
And that's the technical advisor with the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, Patrick Apoya. Next week, the second episode of Diana Nado will air. Stay tuned for that. Let's do sports now. And Hans Mensah. How are you?
Did you swim as a kid?
Oh, I did a lot of swimming. You know what? Where I swim?
Are you sure?
In the Odo River.
Okay, so I was actually come to point that out, that the closest you probably came to a swimming pool was the Korle or the
the Korle. You know, the Korle is the Odo River.
Okay.
You know, the Odo is a nice,
Right.
but the Korle, that's where we did our swimming. You know where the ICGC is?
Right.
There's a huge part of that is in front of it is a.
So you did swim?
I would swim across. That time, Men's Ottawa hadn't done that nice bridge, so you do the crossing.
What about in swimming pools?
Oh well,
As a kid,
it's
was a
only
reserve.
when I grew up that
The reserve of the
that is why I'm obsessed with swimming pools now. You know, because when you've done college swimming, when you know.
Right, let's talk swimming. And Ghana's swimming team has received no support from government as they prepare for the 2019 All-Africa Games in Morocco. Swimming was initially omitted from Ghana's team for the Games, but was reinstated after calls from various quarters. With barely a week to the start of the Games, it has come to light that Ghana's team, led by 2016 Olympian Abeku Jackson, has received no monetary support from the state. Farida Idris is the treasurer of the Ghana Swimming Federation.
Before we submitted our list, we were asked to submit a budget for non-residential training because we don't have facilities to take training for swimmers. Most of the times for any games, what we do is to do a non-residential camping or non-residential training. Till now, I don't know if it's tomorrow or anytime soon, we are going to get our money. We are going to get the budget approved and for us to get money to give it to the swimmers. If you watch now, I don't know about other federations, but it's just few federations that are currently in camp in Cape Coast. So that means swimming is not part of it. And we've not got a penny from the Ministry of the Sports Authority to cater for their training. So all the training done by Abeku, by Jason and Nicholas is kind of their own parents or their own club pocket money. They go to training, pay for the facilities they use, maybe their dieting, their fitness, they finance everything. There's nothing from government at all. So that is the situation with the Ghana swimming team.
Right, so that was Farida Idris, who is the treasurer of the Ghana Swimming Federation. It appears that in this country, when you want to do any sports outside of football, you have to be prepared to, finance it yourself. Whether tennis, whether swimming, you have to be prepared to handle all the, financial burden that comes with all of it. That's your sports.
Hans, you want to stay and listen to this? Have you been listening to the Cosmopolitan Mix? They started a weight loss challenge, 30 days. A few months ago, you were on keto.
I gain and lose weight as I wish.
I was amazed when you lost it. You lost everything.
You want me to lose it again?
Do I want you to lose it again? Do you want it to lose?
I'll lose it when I want to. I mean, that's the thing about me.
Okay, so you should, because it's a...
Be like me.
It's a healthy thing to do. Now, this is the challenge that you need to be part of if you are, like Hans means. I'm.
Oh, no.
Hans,
if you want names, let me give you names. Mm-hmm. Parker Wilson, Maxwell Agbagba. They are there and you are mentioning me.
Well, take a listen to the names who have to do that.
My last visit to the dietitian made me uncomfortable. It didn't have much to do with my late-night eating habits or my irregular dieting schedules. But here's what. I weighed more than 70 kilograms. And right before the dietitian, I made a decision in my mind to begin a fitness routine. I thought of my colleagues Maxwell Agbagba and Ernest Menu, and I felt somewhat good about myself. At least, my pot belly was not as profound as theirs. But so many things came up. Register with a gym, begin done jogging up the hill, you name it. This was sometime last year. Today, I am yet to lift a dumbbell, and I do not even remember ever using a treadmill. But there's an exciting escape. The weight loss challenge with Mama V on the Cosmopolitan Mix show will help. In 30 days, we look to shed off quite a bit. Of course, motivated by daily tips from clinical biochemists.
So don't forget to join that challenge. Sammy Forson is in the studio, and he's... I made I said Sammy Forson is going to join, and then, he starts squeezing his tummy and struggling to breathe. I said, Masa, relax. And then he started relaxing, and he's now breathing nicely. Sammy? You're joining the weight loss challenge, are you not?
I've already done this. Weight loss.
Why is you holding your tummy? Release the tummy.
35 kg. Okay, I used to weigh
Over
120.
You're
Look
showing
at
me.
that.
Oh!
You see that?
That's true.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
35 kg.
Oh.
Over a year.
Yeah, I need to come for tips.
No problem.
Sammy Foss is taking over for me after this with the.
Well, we don't have personality profile, so I'm going to play some great country music.
Oh, and you know you can trust him. I love country music, by the way, and so stay tuned and listen to Sammy Fossing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.